original woods woman. You probably guessed by the name, woods woman. They're women that live out in the woods. See? But they live out there for years at a time. They're nasty creatures. They got hair down to here. See, they smell terrible. They never bathe. Well, I take that back. My great Aunt Jane, she did bathe once. You ever heard of the mud pots of Yellowstone? They used to be called Crystal Springs until my great Aunt Jane bathed. Now, my great Aunt Jane, she had a particular way in which she liked to take her grizzly bears. She liked to go grizzly bear hunting. Now, the first thing you got to understand about a grizzly bears, when you're ever handling a wild grizzly bear, you don't want to startle a bear. Because a startled bear will get all crazed and they'll do things no sane bear would ever attempt. The other thing you got to understand is no sane bear would ever attack a woods woman. They'd know better. So what my great Aunt Jane would do is she'd lay down in the long grasses of the meadow, very similar to the one right here. And she'd lay down upwind of that bear so that wind would whip up over her back and take her scent down towards that bear. That bear would get a whiff. Thought she smelled just like rotting carrion meat. You know what bears truly love to eat? Rotting carrion meat, exactly. See, a lot of people don't understand this about bears. Bears are actually scavengers. They're not hunters. They don't generally kill things. They just scavenge for berries and bugs and whatever they can find. On the rare occasion that a bear does make a kill, in fact, they won't eat it right off. They'll go and bury it in the woods till it gets rotten. Then they'll go back and eat it. They eat it too late. So that bear would get a whiff of my great Aunt Jane and thought he's had himself a free lunch. At which point he'd come bounding up, just as happy as he could be, thinking something easy. At which point my great Aunt Jane would jump up and go, "Ah!" to startle him. Now, she had to startle it because, as I mentioned, no sane bear would attack a woods woman. But in his crazed condition, that bear would come down upon my great Aunt Jane to eat her. And did you know it's a proven fact, in order for a bear to eat you, it must open its mouth? It's true. So he'd throw open his jaws to come down there upon her, at which point she'd sight right down his throat. She'd ram her fist down there, all the way down, all the way to the other end, and grab the tail. At which point she'd give a tremendous jerk and pull the entire creature inside out. Now this confused it, and she could beat it to death with a stick. All right. Who was next? Ryan, take him out. You guys are going all sorts of stuff. Go up and around to that. The goal is that flame up there. Hold up for your troop, Ryan. They're not with you, son. Hey! I guess all right. Sorry. Yeah. Now, while we're on the lines of women in the woods, tell you a story I once heard about a particular liberated woman. You guys ever heard the term liberated woman before? The woman does what men do. See? I ought to know I'm married to one. Oh, she's here. There's one particular liberated woman who's done just that at everything. It isn't necessarily about killing the animal. It's about going out and hanging out with friends and chewing the fat around the campfire. She thought it was actually about killing a deer or something. So she goes down, of course it was required by law in the great state of Utah where she was hunting to wear blaze orange. So she goes down to the store to get herself an outfit. She gets herself a blaze orange long pants, a blaze orange flannel shirt, long sleeve. She gets herself a blaze orange Australian bush hat, you know, the type turned up on one side there. Then she goes down to the armory to get herself a piece. Any hunters in the audience? What type of weapon do you need to go hunting here in the lower 48? Go deer hunting. 30-06, right? You don't need anything any bigger than that. Come on over here, Vince. Don't make me yell. Right in this area, right back there. Squeeze on in there. Come on over here, guys. Over here. Come on all the way over. I don't want to have to. I'm already losing the voice. But you think a 30-06 would do for this particular lady? No, sir. She got herself a side-by-side 450 Magnum elephant gun. The piece alone weighs 20 pounds. She takes it off into the woods. Now, about this time of night, she's sitting on a rock there just eating her granola. Now, I'm not talking about them chewy sticks you kids eat these days. I'm talking about the twigs, the bird dung, right out of the bag. Oh. She's chewing on that, and she's noticing when the campfire's around her, she's hearing nothing but male voices. And the thought comes to her, what if I make a kill and some man takes you away from me? You ever heard of this happening? Someone killing someone else's kill? It's not entirely unheard of. This bothered her a great deal until finally an answer came to her and she was at ease. She went to bed that night, got up early the next morning. She gets back up on that rock. Maybe a few hours into the day when up the trail of peace comes her long-awaited reward. She slips down behind that rock just as silent as she can be. She lays both barrels of that gun right across it. She gets that creature right there in her sight. And whoop, boom! That creature crumples up in her heap right there in the middle of the trail. She busts up over the rock, her finger poised on that second trigger because she knows what that second barrel is for. And sure enough, when she breaks through into the clearing, there's a man bending over her kill. She points the barrel of the rifle right at the man's chest. She says, back off, buddy, that's mine. The man put his hands up, took a few steps back, said, all right, lady, you can have it. Just let me get my saddle off. All right, who we got next? Connor. Off you go, Connor. All right, who's after Connor? I don't remember. Is that Jacob? Mark and Ian. That's right, Mark and Ian. Who's after Mark and Ian? Is that Jacob?
Yeah.
That Jacob, right? Oh, lost the pin. That's fine. Okay. Now my last name's Prowll, as some of you may know. Prowll is actually a rather unique name. We've done a lot of genealogical research on it actually to find out more about it. We found that the Prowll name actually, you can trace it all the way back on the American continent, back to 1630. From my great-great-great-grandpa, I don't know how many greats all throughout a few, his name was Arndt Jansen Prowll. Now the reason we know he was here in 1630 is actually he was arrested. You know why he was arrested? He shoot a pistol on Sunday. Apparently in 1630 that was not looked too highly upon. So he was arrested for that. Now, we've done a lot of research and we found out that well, you guys already heard this one, huh? No. Mark and Ian, you guys heard? Oh, okay. All right, well then I'll keep going. Now, they were my great-great-grandma, the family line, as you can imagine, since they were here since 1630. They were here through all the American wars. They were here during the Revolutionary War. They were homesteaders in the Revolutionary War. They were actually ranchers, and what they would do is they'd clear land to ranch on, because back east the trees are so thick, so you have to clear land so you can have a nice homestead. Now, what they'd do is they'd, right at the edge of the land, though the trees were super thick during the Revolutionary War, this caused a great deal of problems because the British soldiers could sneak up on them right through the trees there. Now, of course, the British soldiers were a little easier to spot because they wore the red coats, see. They were called the red coats. Now, there was one time my great-great-grandma, she was out on the porch, she was churning butter. You guys seen those butter churns? Long, slender barrels, big slats on a big pole coming up the top. She's churning butter there on the porch, and that's when this British soldier jumps up onto the porch there. He's wielding a pistol. Now, my great-aunt Jane, she didn't even, not my great-aunt Jane, I'm mixing my stories. My great-great-grandma, she picks up that butter churn. She doesn't even miss a beat. She brings that thing right up over her head and brings it right down on top of him. The thing cracks open, big chunks of butter floating down him. He's stepping back in a haze. He stumbles off the porch and into the woods. He doesn't get more than 10 feet into the woods, and the bear jumps up and eats him. You know, that bear hung around for another 10 days waiting for another butter box.